Hi, and this is Dr. Keith, and coming here to make this brief presentation for the members of our All Access um, program for Orlando Christian College of Natural Healing. And for those of you who have taken either the Medical Missionary 101 or either the intermediate class, you know that we've talked some, not in detail, about how to reverse diabetes. And so this presentation is going to give a little bit more uh, insight with respect to that. For if you're out ministering, helping people in ministry, or if you have your own, if you're dealing with someone that you have as a client, as a lifestyle coach, or uh, you're working with them through natural healing or whatever the case might be, one of the things that you are going to encounter on quite a frequent basis is going to be diabetes. You're going to encounter that, and in terms of being a counselor, or a consultant, or lifestyle coach, you're going to need to understand how to address this. Now, there will be other courses, and if you have not taken the courses, you're a member of the All Access class, and you need to go through and look at the Medical Missionary, uh, take the Medical Missionary 101 course, as well as the Medical Missionary 102 or 102 course. There's a lot of information in there. There's 23, 24 hours of information in each, and it's very important that you understand what you're doing. Now, in terms of diabetes, again, if you're working with someone, or even if it's yourself, and you yourself, and you have diabetes, and you want to know how to overcome it, this would be a very beneficial presentation for you. Um, let's see if we can get going here now. Okay, here we have the question to ask is, are you insulin resistant? The type 2 diabetic usually has no defect in their insulin production. So most of the time the type 2 diabetic will be producing enough insulin. The normal units of insulin daily is about 31 units. The type 2 diabetic can be secreting as much as 114 units daily. So you can see that they're well on their way to having serious problems. So they're producing enough insulin. So if they're producing enough insulin, then what's the problem? The problem is insulin resistance. Insulin resistance. Here is the problem. Here. So, now let's go on to the next slide. Type 2 diabetes stems from the underlying condition known as insulin resistance. Some things that contribute to the development of insulin resistance are obesity, deficiencies of certain vitamins and minerals, inappropriate diet, and inactivity, i.e. lack of exercise. Those are some of the things that will contribute. So again, obesity, deficiencies of certain vitamins and minerals, inappropriate diet, inactivity, or lack of exercise. Let's look at first obesity. Obesity has an effect on the cell's sensitivity to insulin. This means that even if insulin is injected, which is sometimes the case with type 2 diabetes, it will not work as it should, and larger doses are required. Dr. Julian Whitaker says in his book Reversing Diabetes, in obese people, diabetes is as common as a 42-inch waist. So we can see obesity plays a large role, and obesity is typically associated with two of the other things that we've mentioned, actually all three, but basically inactivity and inappropriate eating habits. Now, second, inappropriate diet. Diet is a major contributing factor to insulin resistance as well as weight gain. Excess fat and refined carbohydrates, i.e. sugar, white flour, white rice, white bread, etc., are major culprits. Major modifications in diet are necessary and extremely important in order to influence insulin sensitivity in type 2 diabetics. Now, these major modifications in diet can be found in both of the courses that we've done, the major core courses that we've done. So again, if you have not taken those courses, or if you need a refresher, you can go back and pull up those videos in particular classes and watch the information. You can also download the PowerPoint presentations. Again, we've done that to help you in for your own notes, as well as for your own consultation and coaching business. or your own ministry. Inactivity. Inactivity or very little activity or exercise contributes to insulin resistance and may actually bring on type 2 diabetes in some people. It also leads to obesity, which further enhances the risk. A regular exercise program dramatically increases insulin sensitivity. Exercise is one of the best things that you can do for yourself or with someone that you may be coaching or working with on a consultation. When you exercise, your muscle cells can extract glucose from the blood rather, even without insulin. So this is how important exercise is to this program. Now, deficiencies. Being deficient in certain vitamins and nutrients can contribute to insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is not only associated with type 2 diabetes, but also with hypertension, low HDL cholesterol, high triglyceride levels, and increased risk of cardiovascular disease. This is a cluster of conditions known as or identified as Syndrome X. Now, you will find, as you do this, you will find that most people who have diabetes will also, sooner or later, if that diabetes is not brought under control, end up being diagnosed with hypertension, cholesterol issues, triglyceride issues, etc. And when they have one of these, the other two are typically not far behind. So again, these are some of the things that are caused by deficiencies. Now, if you've taken the two classes, you know the basis of these laws of health, which we call the laws of health or the Genesis Code healing system. You have trust in the Creator. You have sunshine, exercise, pure water, fresh air, rest, healthful diet, and temperance. These can all be found in the book of Genesis. Here you see Genesis 1:1. Over here you see Genesis 1:2 for sunshine. Pure water, you see Genesis 1:10. For exercise, you see Genesis 2:15. For fresh air, you see Genesis 1:8. For rest, the basis is in Genesis 2:2. For temperance or self-control, the basis is in Genesis 2:17. And for healthful diet, the basis is in Genesis 1:30. Now, as I said before, every natural healing system has a spiritual component to it, and Orlando Christian College of Natural Healing addresses that spiritual component from a Christian perspective, where we feel that it is the ultimate spiritual perspective religion or service in the Bible to address these issues from. So most of the natural healing would typically be associated with the Far Eastern religions, but we find that a very effective code of healing can be found. The ultimate, what we determine as the ultimate kind of healing, can be found in the book of Genesis and the Bible as a whole. Now, let's look at this therapy. Number one, trust in the Creator. Some people can develop diabetes due to chronic stress. The reason being is because chronic stress can burn up particular nutrients in the body. It can cause the pH to go into to be more acid. Once that's done, you can begin to throw off some of the or you throw off the pH of the body, and that acid pH is going to consume or burn up many of your nutrients that you need to help balance the body and help prevent diseases. So the first thing you have to look at is, and the first thing we pointed out, is trusting the Creator. And why is that so important? Because in the beginning, the Bible says that God created, Genesis 1:1. So over here we can see, He says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Many people you will find will stress and worry about everything. And so it is very important to have faith and trust in the Creator, in God. And if we take this scripture here in Matthew 11:28, and we can if we ourselves, or we can get our clients or the people that we're working with to understand that God says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, I will give you rest." In other words, stop taking on the burdens that I can't really control anyway, and trust in the Creator. For in the beginning He created. Next we see, as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. You become to a great degree what you think. So if the person is always worried, their mentality on exercise, their mentality on eating correctly, their mentality on all of these things is going to dictate who they are. And so as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. So this is why it's so very important to understand the mental and the spiritual side of healing. It's crucial. Next we have, he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Here we're being instructed that you don't want to bear your own griefs or carry your sorrows. In other words, you can't continue to internalize things that you can't control and worry and fret. We need to understand that God, the Creator, has borne our griefs and He's carried our sorrows. So hence the indication that we don't need to be trying to carry our sorrows ourselves. Or if a person you're working with, trust me, this is going to be one of the biggest things you're going to have to deal with, because as those on here who understand what we talked about in the two classes, 9/10 of all diseases have their origin in the mind. So you have to minister, you have to work with the mind to have ultimate success. Here we see over here in Isaiah 53:5, it says here that the chastisement of our peace was upon him. This is talking about Christ. So if we accept this idea that the chastisement of our peace, our spiritual and mental peace, should not be upon us but was upon him, if we trust in God, if we trust in Christ, the Creator, then we're not, our peace is not, it's already guaranteed. So we shouldn't be worried about this and worried about that, because the chastisement of our peace falls upon Christ. So this is very important to understand this. Finally, to be spiritually minded is life. Again, we have to understand that if a person wants to be healed, they have to understand there's a spiritual component to healing. It's not all physical. In fact, the physical, the spiritual, and the mental all work together. And so essentially, if we understand this and understand that there's a greater power, a higher power in terms of God, the Creator, then those things that we can't fix, those things that's out of our control, we don't worry about them. We don't stress out about them and make ourselves sick. Again, the diabetic will have to understand this. Not only the diabetic, but anyone that you work with in terms of health and healing. Now, the second thing we talked about was the sun. We went through Genesis and we saw these things. Go out into the sunshine. Or whoever you're working with, have them go out into the sunshine. Here's why. Number one, sunlight stimulates the liver, assisting it in breaking down toxins. It also stimulates other internal organs and glands such as the pancreas, the stomach, the kidneys, the thyroid, as well as the adrenal glands. Number two, sunlight causes cholesterol and triglyceride blood levels to drop, hereby helping to protect you or protect us from the syndrome X problems caused by insulin resistance. So sunlight is where we get the body, is how the body produces vitamin. As we see here, has great benefits in helping to stave off the problems associated with syndrome X. Number three, sunlight has been found to increase serotonin production, which helps prevent fatigue and depression. Chronic depression places stress upon the body, which contributes to the depletion of the entire endocrine system and the development of diabetes in many people. Truly, says our medical book, one of our medical books in this, the Bible, the book of Ecclesiastes, truly the light is sweet, and a pleasant thing it is for the eyes to behold the sun. Sunlight lowers blood pressure, as it does lower as well as blood sugar levels, which is of course beneficial for anyone that has diabetes. Number two, sunshine is so effective in this respect that insulin-dependent diabetics need to take special care when sunbathing or walking out in the sun for 40 to 45 minutes, because when the sun comes in contact with insulin, it can have a hypoglycemic or an effect of lowering the blood sugar. Diabetics may need to adjust their dose of insulin if they are going to be sunbathing on a regular basis. That is how effective the sun is in helping to regulate blood sugar. And remember, so now we have the sun, and we haven't even talked about exercise. So we've talked about trusting in the Creator and allowing Him to deal, putting our stress and our cares and our worries on Him. Going out and getting into the sunlight for sun therapy, you can see that the benefits of it in terms of working on your blood pressure levels as well as the blood sugar levels. Okay, let's make sure I didn't skip over one. Okay, exercise therapy. Number three, exercise at least 30 minutes daily. I would say exercise rather 45 minutes at least. Here's why. Regular exercise will lower glucose, your blood sugar, reduce insulin resistance, the condition in which the cells have a diminished response to insulin, lower your blood pressure, improve cholesterol, help in achievement and maintenance of a healthy weight. It also will help decrease stress. So you have the sunlight combined with the exercise, combined with not stressing out, you're beginning to see how such an effective program can actually begin to normalize blood sugar. Water therapy. Drink at least 10 8-ounce glasses of water daily. Here's why. Now, basically, the amount of water is based upon your weight. But for most people, 10 8-ounce glasses of water a day are going to be what they need unless they're a lot heavier. Listen to this quote from Dr. B. I call him Dr. B. From his book, The Body's Many Cries for Water. He says, adult onset diabetes is another adaptive state to severe dehydration of the human body. To have adequate water in circulation and for the brain's priority water needs, the release of insulin is inhibited to prevent insulin from pushing water into all body cells. In diabetes, only some cells get survival water. Water and some salt will reverse adult onset diabetes in its early stages. So here Dr. B says in the early stages, water and some salt can actually help reverse adult onset diabetes in its early stages. Says water is very important, is a very important part of each cell and its ability to produce energy cell metabolism. All nutrients, minerals, enzymes, oxygen, etc. are moved in through the cell membranes to the various working parts inside the cell. So water is used within the cell to produce many chemical reactions. Cell waste is also transported by cellular fluids back to the blood for cell cleansing. We dehydrate our cells, and if uncorrected, sickness, disease, and finally death is the result. That's how important water is. Water is crucial to help the body several processes, even in helping prevent you from developing diabetes. And also, as a result, when the body is given the right amount of water on a consistent basis to correct dehydration, the body can then begin to function the way that it was designed to do so by the Creator. Fresh air therapy. Get outside in the fresh air daily. Here's why. Fresh outdoor air is rich in oxygen. Oxygen is necessary for cell metabolism, and as we exhale carbon dioxide, cellular waste is breathed out. Oxygen has negative ions that are useful in giving electrical energy to the body, especially to the nervous system. Oxygen kills bacteria as it strengthens the immune system. Fresh air, especially when we exercise, will stimulate our appetite and greatly aid and improve digestion of food. Skipping on rest. Now let's back up for a moment. Those are just some of the benefits of the fresh air, which again, when combined with the exercise outside, is strengthening our immune system. It's giving our body electrical energy for the body to do what it needs to do. And when we have the right water, which is an electrical conductor, we can begin to see how the fresh outdoor air can help our cells, help us on a cellular level, which is crucial because remember those cells is what need that glucose, so they need to be able to function. So anything that will help our body on a cellular level is going to benefit anyone that has or that's struggling with diabetes. Sufficient rest. Skimping on rest could increase your chances of getting type 2 diabetes, a disease once believed to be caused primarily by being overweight. In fact, just 3 consecutive nights of inadequate sleep can elevate a person's risk to a degree roughly equivalent to gaining 20 to 30 pounds, according to a 2007 study at the University of Chicago. So that's very significant. It says that just 3 consecutive nights of inadequate sleep can elevate a person's risk to a degree roughly equivalent to gaining 20 to 30 pounds. Oh, that's amazing. Amazing. That's just not getting enough rest or not enough sleep. Again, you can see how these basic things are very important in the person developing diabetes, but then by reversing these lifestyle habits that ended up creating an atmosphere where the body could develop diabetes, by reversing these habits or undoing them, you can reverse the disease itself. Sleep may be as important as exercise or diet when it comes to developing diabetes, said Yves Van Carter, MD, a professor of medicine and the senior author of the study. This revelation backs up previous research from Yale and the New England Research Institutes, which showed that people who clock 6 hours or less of sleep a night are twice as likely to develop diabetes in their lifetime as those who snooze 7 hours. So just that 1 hour of lost sleep can cause you, or cause the likelihood of you or your person you may be working with to have developed who may have developed diabetes. Just that 1 hour can determine or can double the risk of a person developing diabetes. Again, that's how important sufficient rest is. The Bible says, "It is vain for you to rise up early to sit up late, for so he giveth his beloved sleep." Again, one of the things that we pull from the scripture, from the Bible, we see that there's a lot of health information. That's why at Orlando Christian College of Natural Healing, we use the Bible as one of our health books, our chief health book, really, because it deals with the physical, the spiritual, and the mental health. When you don't get enough sleep, your body appears to require more insulin to maintain normal glucose levels, says James Hertigan, MD, medical director of the Sleep Science Center at the University of Illinois in Chicago. Sleep deprivation seems to alter the sympathetic nervous system, the body's stress control center, and hormonal balances, all of which affects glucose regulation. Eventually, sleeplessness causes insulin-producing cells to stop working properly, elevating glucose levels and leaving you wide open to diabetes. Adding to the problem is the fact that fatigue also jolts the sympathetic nervous system into high gear, throwing off its ability to regulate blood sugar, Dr. Carter says. Indeed, numerous experts point out that it takes just 2 nights of sleeping 4 hours or less to temporarily disrupt the process. So we're beginning to see how crucial, again, rest is. Sufficient rest is so crucial if we want to prevent, don't want to end up with diabetes. Finally, proper nutrition. Your eating habits must be brought into harmony with the original diet as much as possible. Now, those of you that have taken 101 and 102 classes, core classes, will know that we encourage that what we call a vegan or plant-based diet. This was steeped in the original diet. We believe that if the Bible, in terms of its health knowledge and spiritual knowledge and physical knowledge, is correct in these issues where science has proved it to be, or not really proved it, but I wouldn't say it proved it, but has confirmed it. So again, we throughout have talked about the benefits, the scientific benefits of this original diet when you go through the other courses. And so, as you can see, this text here says, "And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, and the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you all it shall be for meat." That word meat is actually translated, the accurate translation is food. Um, the original diet given to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden was certain vegetables, grains, fruits, and nuts. In addition to their perfect diet and lifestyle, they had unlimited access to the tree of life. After the fall, God added the herb of the field, Genesis 3:18, as part of Adam and Eve's nutritional program. This includes green leafy vegetables and ground-bearing foods such as potatoes, carrots, onions, etc. God altered their nutritional program after sin, or after they fell, to include the green leafy foods that are high in chlorophyll and phytochemicals which have life-sustaining properties. These foods would help to maintain life, for at this time the human race lost the privilege of eating from the tree of life. This nutritional diet prescription prescribed by the Creator is both a disease preventative and cure, and must be the diabetic's new diet for life. The first 15 to 30 days for a diabetic reversal program might look like this with regard to nutrition. So pay close attention to this, please. Number one, the diabetic, they're going to really want to go on a vegan or plant-based diet for life, for best health. And not only that, anybody that has any sickness, and even those who don't have sickness, the optimal diet is this diet. But especially a diabetic, and we have to understand, do not allow people to underestimate the disease of diabetes. It's a very serious disease. Now let's look at this. Clean the bowel with a good herbal cleanser, or give enema for 7 days. This is what a good diabetic program may look like. A reversal program may look like. Number one, clean the bowel with a good herbal cleanser, or give an enema for 7 days. And if you're going to be given an enema or taking an enema, make sure to replace the gut flora in the gut if you're going to be given an enema for 7 days. Change the bacteria flora in the large intestines after cleanse. Again, give acidophilus, what I just pointed out. Eat a large salad for breakfast daily with 5 different vegetables. Eat a large salad for lunch daily with at least 5 different vegetables. Dinner, if taken at all, should be something very light, either fruit or vegetables. Raw vegetable may be lightly steamed in water. And if it's a diabetic, you don't want to eat a very sweet fruit either. It should be something that's not really a sweet fruit, or something that could tend to spike the blood sugar, because at this point in time, but if you're following this with this vegetable, a big salad for lunch, a big salad for dinner, and if eaten at all, some lightly steamed broccoli or something like that for the final meal. Again, next you're going to add, drink 2 ounces of green string bean juice 3 times per day. Of course, raw. Avoid overeating. In fact, it's best as a diabetic to eat just below being satisfied. Allow up to 5 hours to elapse between meals. Eat nothing between meals, with the exception if you have a severe drop in blood glucose. Do not lie down sooner than 3 hours after a meal. Do not drink with your meals. Do not eat fruit and vegetables at the same meal. Avoid fried foods. For the first 15 to 30 days of the protocol, eat about 80% of food raw. Now you can add some herbs and supplements. Again, vitamin C, 2,000 milligrams twice daily. Ideally, uh, lipo, uh, lipo C is the ideal. Doesn't have to be lipo C, but the absorption rate is a lot better. And so vitamin C, 2,000 milligrams, 2 times a day, so that's 4,000 milligrams. Vitamin E, 600 international units twice a day, so that'll be 1,200 international units a day. Vitamin B complex, 100 milligrams 3 times a day, so that's 300 milligrams a day. Flaxseed oil, 2 to 4 tablespoons daily. Evening primrose oil, 500 to 1,000 milligrams daily, or 2 to 4 tablespoons of the oil. Badium, 100 milligrams daily. Chromium, 400 micrograms daily. Calcium, 1,000 milligrams daily. You'll probably do better with a liquid calcium, and it'll normally be combined with magnesium, where they have calcium magnesium for absorption. Again, as you see there, magnesium, 1,000 milligrams daily. 1 teaspoon of lecithin 2 times per day. And herbs and supplements. Gymnema, 400 is a very powerful supplement. Any of these are 400 milligrams daily. Bitter melon, 3 to 4 ounces of juice or the equivalent in supplement. Licorice powder. Now, let me back up. For the bitter melon, 3 or 4 ounces of juice or the equivalent in supplement. If you were taking the supplement, you would probably want to take about, if you're taking milligrams, maybe 300 to 400 milligrams, or if you're taking just a raw herb, you want to take maybe 2 to 3 times a day of the capsule. If you're just taking just the raw herb without it being broken down into extract, or broken down rather into milligrams. Licorice powder and 0 capsules, 3 capsules in the morning, 3 at noon, and 3 in the afternoon, around 5 p.m. So that would be 9 capsules. Golden Seal and 00 capsules. So again, in classes we've talked about this some. In future classes we'll be going into more about this, especially in the advanced class. But we'll be going into more about this when you're talking about the difference between 0 capsules and number 2 capsules. They're simply indicative of size. The 0 capsule is a smaller capsule than the 00 capsule. This is more along the lines of a 500 milligram capsule here. This is more along the lines of maybe a 250 milligram capsule for loose herbs. Golden Seal and 00 capsules, 2 in the morning and 2 at noon and 2 in the afternoon around 5 p.m. for a total of 6 of those capsules. And this is a formula that I produced. I created maybe 10 years ago, and was given it to diabetics, and they had very good results. I based it off of a formula that I read from Dr. Christopher. It's cedar berries, golden seal, uva ursa, cayenne, licorice root, and mullein leaf. You saw some of those same herbs in the outline that I just went through. Finally, temperance. And by the way, in the class, I'll later on in a future presentation here, I will actually give you the amounts of these to put into the formula if you're going to make the formula. But that's I call it Pank Life, feeds the pancreas. But as you continue to come here, I will be giving you more specifics, formulas that you can put together yourself, or for your clients, or coaching or consulting clients. Finally, temperance or self-control. Temperance or self-control must be exercised in relation to all of the previous laws of health. Here's why. Temperance, balance, self-control causes not one to overeat, not to overwork, not to be righteous over much. That is become unbalanced. That is to become, when it says righteous over much, that is to become unbalanced in your relationship or worship of the Creator, of God. Not to overexert yourself in anything, including exercise. In other words, to have balance in all things, uh, and not to be have an unbalanced mind or unbalanced lifestyle in general. And finally, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance. So here you see it's again, it's another Bible uh, concept to where it's good for us to have faith. It's necessary for us to have faith, actually. Uh, it's necessary for us to have faith, and we are to add to your faith virtue, which is righteousness or doing right by people, and to that virtue knowledge. It's good to have spiritual knowledge, physical knowledge, scientific knowledge, and to knowledge, not to have so much knowledge that we don't exercise temperance when we're using that knowledge. So again, we have to have temperance and or self-control. People who don't have self-control would tend to overeat, which can lead to obesity, which can lead to diabetes. Or people who don't have self-control would not tend not to be able to control themselves to go and exercise or do whatever, and eventually lead to diabetes or some other issue health-wise.